From frozen Swedes and thawing hikers to holiday shoppers picking sides, this is the focus group.
They're all business, except when they're not. It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Welcome to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is our website. You'll learn all about us there, including our other podcast, TFG Unbuttoned. That's 20 minutes, 3 stories early in the week. Things you might not have known, and you'll be thankful you know after you listen to TFG Unbuttoned. And a big thanks to Deep Discount, our partner here on the Focus Group. We'll be visiting with them a little later in the show. And even though Christmas is literally, our show drops in video form, the Focus Group, on Christmas Eve. So tomorrow's Christmas. You'll hear us on Saturday if you're audio. Tim and I think it's not a bad time to pick a present up for yourself at Deep Discount. You shop for everybody else. Now get something for yourself. So
I always feel that way.
Tim, you actually, last week you had a couple ideas on things you were going to get yourself anyway. Did anything come through?
Not yet. I'm still. I have it all saved in my cart, so I need to decide what I'm going to get. But I did want to share with you, John. I just ended a 30-year, a 29 and 10-month year relationship, and which is quite some time.
You did what I did, yeah.
And I got rid of Verizon from my mobile phone carrier, and so you recommended, because a friend of yours, who's somebody I know as well, had moved over to Visible, which is I guess it's a budget carrier that handles Verizon as well.
Correct. And
it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes of my time to move over and save. My bill was going to be $106 a month, and now it's $19.99 guaranteed for 26 months.
And I think you have unlimited data.
Unlimited data. I was so aggravated, so I got some bullshit charge from Verizon, and I called and talked to, Mumbai, and couldn't get anywhere, and tried to explain. And I kept having to ask her to repeat herself, and she kept trying to sell me something else. I said, I don't want to have this charge on here. It doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you for being a 30-year, customer. I said, Wow. Well, this is how you treat a 30-year customer. Yeah. I said, why are you charging me for over one? It was some nonsense charge. And so, of course, I went on.
They charged you for another gig of data, right?
And I said, I got the warning. And so then I shut my phone off because I only had 2 days before the data would run out or something. And I was using music at the gym, and I guess that chewed up some data. But either way, I explained to the person that I tried to she guaranteed me I wasn't going to be charged. Well, of course I was. So then I went to Reddit and read all these things about how they lost, just in the last quarter alone, I guess the first half of the year, they've lost close to 300,000 customers.
Really?
Which equates to, I tried to do the math, hundreds of millions of dollars when you do it over 12 months and compound that by, say, the average bill is $80 a month or $100 a month. And so then I asked for this transfer pin to bring my phone over, whatever. Then all of a sudden I get this thing saying I can get $20 off.
Did you, Tim? It's so formulaic. I'll complete your story.
So then I got Gomez. So Gomez gets on the phone with me, and he thanks me again for being 29 years and 10-month customer. And I said, I got this offer that's telling me that I can get unlimited now for $75, which is less money than I'm currently paying, and more features. And that's only for new customers. I said, you just told me you appreciate my loyalty. Well, no, we can give you $20 off per line that you have on there. So I said, well, I want to buy this $75 thing, and so he's got to go talk to his manager, his supervisor. So I said, as I read this, it says $20 per line. I have an iPad on a line, and I also have a phone. That's $40 off. So he agrees with me. And then I said, and I'm getting a $20 loyalty payment. I said, so this should be $35 a month. I thought, for $35 a month, I'll keep it.
You'll stay. Yeah.
12, 15 minutes later, he comes
I know your
back.
math is sound.
He was so confused. And, next thing I know, he's back up to we'll give you the iPad on there, but you're not going to have unlimited data still, or you're going to get a limit, and then it's going to, if it's too busy, it's going to be, you know,
you get knocked down on your speeds.
Get knocked down on your speeds. And I'm back to 85. I said, well, that doesn't do me any good. So anyway, I got aggravated, and then I switched. Well, now I'm being bombarded by Verizon. But it's too late. I've switched. I'm delighted. It's been about 6-7 days. I've had no hiccup, no nothing. I played with it to see if I could do the internet, which I don't really use. Yeah, I don't do that on my phone anyway. But
you mean if you wanted to do
if I was going to watch something,
Wi-Fi hotpoint, like a hotspot.
Yeah, or just wanting to do, I went on and did Facebook or something, which I don't usually do. I usually use the iPad. But, and I did what you did in terms of being mad at myself, and I thought I should have done this years ago. But, so we'll see what happens. But I would suggest to everybody, if you're paying these outrageous cell phone mobile bills, and you and I spend, it's telephone and texting.
Yeah,
not a lot more that I do. I don't need international calling on some of these things, but
no.
So we'll see. So now it's $19.99. Although I have one more bill from Verizon with the screw up on there. But now I'm going off to Xfinity, try to get them straightened out. But
they're going to be harder because
they've jacked up internet now to $142 a month. So if I went to YouTube. TV or something premium, it's actually $10 more than the package at Xfinity. So
that's what they do.
Yeah, so you're screwed with cable, or even if you want to do streaming.
And I would say that in your neck of the woods, because there's no competition,
nothing,
they have a free hand. Like when I yearly go back to Spectrum and ask for new rates or something, and I usually get a really great person. This year I had my bill drop by $40 or $50.
Wow.
Because it kept going up. Then they threw in a whole bunch of free things like Peacock, Hulu, Disney, Paramount, and HBO, the streaming apps.
Wow.
For free, if you didn't mind getting ads, and most things, you do. So I got rid of everything except Netflix. And now we have our, and in the city, our co-op negotiated a package deal for everybody in the building. So I think we pay $60 a month for high-speed internet and cable, including TV,
That's
including
unbelievable.
Showtime.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And when I quit Verizon, it was because Spectrum gave me a free unlimited line for a year. And after the year, it goes to maybe $30, which is still better than the $89 I was paying at Verizon. And Tim, like you, I was a 30-year customer. I got the instant I requested the transfer pin, an email comes in, and the guy at Spectrum says, he goes, "Oh, you're going to get an offer from Verizon." And I said, "Don't you think it's a little too late?" He just shrugged. He goes, we're Verizon. Like the carrier that you went to, I think is Visible. Did you go to?
Right. And it's a Verizon, or they handle Verizon, or
it's a Verizon. They're on Verizon's network. Same with Spectrum Mobile. So I haven't had any quality issues. I haven't had a drop call. I've been able to use it as a hotspot because my iPad only has Wi-Fi, and and as you said just a second ago, I just wish I had done it sooner, because this reminds me of my parents now, or maybe our grandparents, where they would really look at everything carefully. Coupons. Now I get it.
The electric bill.
Yeah.
As I walk around the house and turn lights off. I don't know if you do that. That's my pastime.
We do the same thing. We have electric heating.
It's not a we. So it's me. It's me that's turning it off. The we, the other part of me, is everything's lit up.
Hey, one last quick thing before you get to the show. I was at my gym on Wall Street the other day, and I walked out, and there was an enormous Christmas tree in front of the Wall Street Stock Exchange. I took a couple pictures of it. It was nice and full. It was beautiful. It was there was a bit of it was snow/rain. It was very light. And I just thought no one was around. You could walk right up to the tree. And I thought the last time you and I spoke about this, we were talking about the tree at Rock Center and how they block the streets. It's a mob scene. So if you don't want to do Rock Center, go down to Wall Street. They have a pretty nice tree down there too.
I didn't know they had a tree down there. You have to post a picture.
I didn't either until I walked out, and it was Hello Christmas. Anyway, without further ado, Mr. Bennett, as part of our show, we have a segment called Caught Our Eye. What caught your eye?
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
So I stumbled on this. I don't know how, but it's the headline is How a Forgotten Disney Special Became Sweden's Beloved Christmas Tradition. So there's something called Kalle Anka, which is translated to Donald Duck. And so in Swedish, Kalle Anka.
Just stop right there. Kalle Anka means
Kalle
Donald
Anka.
Duck?
Donald Duck.
Okay.
And so of all the Christmas tree, I'll read this because it does a better job than I can surmise. But it says, of all the Christmas traditions around the world, perhaps one of the most surprising is that every year at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Christmas Eve, upwards to a third of the country tunes in and sits and watches Kalle Anka, better known as Donald Duck, From All of Us to All of You. And it came out in 1958, and it's a Disney Christmas TV special hosted by Jiminy Cricket. And it features Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Snow White. And then they take a bunch of these old vintage holiday cartoons, Disney cartoons from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and interweave them in. And it's about an hour broadcast, and the whole country stops and watches this as a tradition. They said upwards. Even they found that I believe they broke a record in 1997. They predicted that almost half the country was watching, and cell phone usage dropped by 28% while the show was on.
Classic.
So this is very much a Swedish, and now Norway is watching it as well. And they were trying to figure out why it happened. And they said back there was only one national TV network at the time, SVT1. And they were also, people were just getting color TVs. A lot of people didn't have TV until then. There was this interest in American cartoons or animation or programming because of the quality of it. And so this one station in Sweden is the only station they had. They had two stations total, a local station and a national station. Ran this kind of as a fluke, I guess. They got a hold of it and ran this Disney thing. And then it was so popular, the next year they ran it, and they ran it again and ran it again. So now for decades, since 1958, this has been a tradition in Sweden. They are under a contract with Disney that they can change it up a little bit. They can add only a small snippet of something that's more modern. But they actually tried to drastically change it a few years ago, and a huge uproar from the population because they tried to add a different cartoon or something that was non-Disney into it or whatever, and the place went wild. But so it's again this Kalle Anka. Frequently, it ranks among the most watched television broadcasts every year in Sweden. And they said it's a single annual broadcast. It's a must-see event, cementing it as a cherished intergenerational ritual, despite its age, with nearly half the country tuning in every year. It's more than just a cartoon. It's a cultural touchstone representing togetherness, nostalgia, and the start of the Christmas celebrations in Sweden. So I tried finding it. I actually tried finding it at deep discount. I couldn't. And I found something like it on YouTube, but I'm not sure it's the exact thing. But I can't say it in Norwegian or in Swedish. It's Kalle Anka ach Hans Vanner Oscar God Jul. That's my bad Swedish.
You didn't do a bad
but
job there.
Essentially, it's Donald Duck and his friends wish you a Merry Christmas from all of us to all of you. And so it did broadcast in the United States in 1958. And then it debuted in Sweden, I believe, 1960. And it's been on every year since. So
is it sort of their Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
I was going to say that, or remember when Wizard of Oz was always played around
yearly,
Thanksgiving or something?
Right after around Thanksgiving.
But you're right. The Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is coming to town. I was trying to think, maybe Charlie Brown Christmas is the one that... Mm-hmm. I was trying to think which one was more universal for us. Is there one holiday classic that everybody would stop and watch? This is almost like their Super Bowl.
Christmas.
Yeah, you're right.
Charlie Brown Christmas, maybe?
Charlie Brown. But this is almost like our Super Bowl, right? Where the whole country tunes in regardless.
America's Fireplace. When you were talking about how many networks were in Sweden, all I thought it was Austin Powers, the movie BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three.
BBC 4. Yeah, I think.
4. And that was it.
Austin Powers. Oh, gosh.
Classic,
could you make that
right?
movie
Remember
now? I don't know if you can make it now.
I don't know if you could make it now. And the beginning where they're dancing through the streets of London, the whole bit, it was just such a really funny, yeah, cultural touchstone.
And the frown.
What crossed my, what crossed my, $1 million. No, everybody laughs. No, it's $1 billion. What caught my eye was very different. And if you're watching on YouTube, so the headline reads, a man was perfectly frozen in ice for 28 years. And due to shifts in temperature and climate change, the ice cave that he was trapped in and frozen in released him. In other words, the ice melted. I went to Gemini, which is Google's AI, and I asked it for an illustration. And I put in hiker trapped in ice. That's it. If you're watching on YouTube, it literally takes this guy in a hiking outfit and puts it in a block of ice against a wall. I mean, that's AI for you. But here's the actual story. It comes to us from Pakistan, actually. So in June of 1997, a 31-year-old Pakistani man, while traveling in the Supot Valley in the mountainous region of Pakistan called Kohistan, so that's up in this region that's very mountainous. And I can imagine if you get lost up there, you're lost. Disappeared into a cave, never to be seen again. He left behind a wife and 2 children, and for years, the family of the missing man searched the area for any sign of him, ultimately to no avail. Our family left no stone unturned. And they went to the area where they knew he was at, but they never found him. Nearly 3 decades later, the search for him has finally come to an end. On July 31st of this year, a local shepherd in the valley named Omar Khan, and this is the valley where this ice cave was, discovered the missing man's body with an identity card still on him. But that was the only surprise. What was unbelievable, the guy told BBC, the man who found him, the body was intact. The clothes were not even torn. So apparently this unfortunate guy lay mummified in the glacial ice for over 28 years. He underwent a quick freeze, happens in this area. So he might have fallen into a ravine or water, and because of the way the situations are up there, he died almost automatically and froze. Now that everything's climate change is changing the temperature, he thawed out. Interestingly, it says here, while glaciers are amazing at preserving soft tissue, our skin, etc., and our organs, they aren't as effective as cryogenic freezing, which can perfectly preserve an organism. This is why this man who fell into the thing actually shows sign of decomposition and dehydration. So it's not like he was perfectly preserved and his body is decaying, but it wasn't decaying at any rate that you would ever expect outdoors. But what a weird thing. 30 years after your father or your husband disappears, and you might have thought anything, right? And he turns up to have fallen into a ice cave and been frozen solid in a block of ice for 30 years. I think it's crazy.
So he was in a block of ice. It wasn't like an animal could get to him then.
Correct. He was in like a lake, some body of water that had formed in this cave.
Wow.
And now that it's, crazy.
Jeez.
Could you imagine?
I can't. And I just can't imagine what the death was like, right? I guess he probably froze to death. And
Yeah, thank you for that. Is a great point. He's alone. He's hiking. Oh, I think I'll check out this cave. Boom, splat. I don't know how many seconds. Yeah. How many seconds? Yeah, you're right, Tim. 30 years ago, it wasn't like he was carrying anything to contact people with.
No.
So that was what caught my eye. So we have a fun Christmas thing and a weird kind of caveman thing. But that's what you get on Christmas Eve with the focus group. If you're watching.
Well, both cold stories. Sweden's cold. Northern Pakistan's cold.
BBC One. This is on BBC 4. BBC 4. All right, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Critics' Choice Deep Discount is a partner of ours here on the Focus Group, and we want you to visit their site by going to ours, focusgroupradio.com, and click on the Deep Discount logo and start your shopping experience. But since we're airing around Christmas, we think this is a good time to treat yourself to something. So the sale is still a, last minute gift giving. Everything's always on sale at deep discount anyway. But in the spirit of getting yourself something, Tim, what did you come up with?
And of course, you can own your passion at deep discount, and we thank them for their support of us. I took your advice and I picked something that I would like, only because I've been trying to find it in only different. The whole thing has not been released, or they're asking you to pay for it. So it's Mad Men, the complete series, and it was originally released on DVD. There's 32 discs. It came out September 2023. And you can get it at deep discount. It says it's imported from Australia, which I thought was interesting. But it's about the life in a prestigious and ruthless New York City advertising agency, Sterling Cooper Advertising Agency, and what goes on there. Set in the 60s, a time when a lot of the people that worked on Madison Avenue were referred to as madmen, and talks about a lot of the guilt-free years of smoking cigarettes, misogyny, dubious family values, sexism, and homophobia. And so pick up Mad Men, the complete series at deep discount.
Can I tell you, Tim, we started watching Mad Men again, and we found, I think it was the first season, might have been on Prime or something, and the very first 3 episodes had so many hilarious things. Really? The kids sliding around in the back seat of the station wagon without seatbelts on, climbing all over the car. And one time, I think his wife, Don Draper's wife, I want to say it was the daughter Sally or the wife Sally. She's in the kitchen having a cigarette, and they all smoke. They're all constantly smoking. It's like watching Lucy or Bewitched or something. Yeah. She's having a cigarette and a coffee with a neighbor, and the kids start running around with dry cleaner bags, like they're wearing the dry cleaning bag, as if they're space suits or they're astronauts. And all you know is that, nowadays those bags say do not use as a toy to cause suffocation. But back then, it's a good pick. It's a
They're
great
playing lawn
show.
darts, probably. I just think those things. My favorite, I think it was the 4th season when they had the like John Deere
lawnmower.
account. They're driving the lawnmower.
In the office, there was a John Deere, right?
You could totally. I bet that happened. You could totally see that happening, and
cut someone's foot off, as I recall, right?
You and I know, drinking, having a good time, unintended consequence. Let's drive the mower. We got the account.
Tim, I think it probably did happen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course it did. So what did you pick?
My pick was also for myself, and it was inspired by the fact that a while ago, our friend Lauren at Deep Discount recommended I watch a documentary that you can see as well on HBO about Albert Brooks, one of my favorite comedians and directors. He did one of my favorite movies of all time called Defending Your Life. He also did Lost in America, Mom, a whole bunch of modern romance. But there's a movie he did that I've never seen, and it always gets talked about. It's called Real Life, and it's available on the Criterion Collection. And to say that it was ahead of its time in terms of this idea of photographing a normal family at work is an understatement. So the description reads as follows: hilarious satire that was director Albert Brooks's feature film debut takes a lighthearted poke at cinema verite, truthful cinema, filmmaking in general, and public television's An American Family. So back in the day, they had this show called American Family about the Louds, I think. And it was like reality TV before it became the real world and all that stuff. So he plays a documentarian who tries to capture the typical American family on film while remaining uninvolved, but seem to be doing everything but. Charles Grodin's in it, Francis Lee McCain. There's a lot of great talent. Harry Shearer's in it. So I haven't seen it. I've seen clips, but that's what I'm getting myself for Christmas at Deep Discount, even though it's a little after the holiday. And we do have a new release as well. And this is a movie that came out that got a lot of social media buzz. Critics liked it. I'll just say this. It's called Begonia. Bugonia. It's a wildly entertaining psychological thriller. The film follows 2 conspiracy-obsessed young men who kidnap a powerful CEO. They believe she's an alien out to destroy humanity. What begins as a paranoid act spirals into a battle of delusions and control. One is viscerally unpredictable as it is provocative. I'll just say this. It's a good journey. The end of the movie is a surprise twist. I'll leave it there. But Begonia would be a great one to pick up post-Christmas. Perfect way to start the new year for that one. So that's our new release this week.
The new release is Begonia, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So as John said, head over to focusgroupradio.com, click on the deep discount logo. Still time to get that last minute gift for that person on your list, or we recommend getting something for yourself as we head into the new year. It's, again, you'll be able to own your passion at deep discount. I picked the Mad Men, the complete series for this week. John picked Real Life, which I've heard about that as well, and I'm curious to see what you think about it. John, I might have to borrow it from you. And the new release this week is Begonia. So again, thanks to our friends at Deep Discount, and thank you for supporting them, and because of their support of us, which we certainly appreciate. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got our business birthday and a shop talk. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Now back to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Available pretty much everywhere.
Welcome back. It's the Focus Group, and you haven't been gone too long. It was a very quick break, as we promised. Focusgroupradio.com is our website. You'll learn all about us there, including our Tuesday podcast, TFGM button. And without further ado, we do have a signature part of the show. It's the only show in the universe that does this, and you'll hear that now.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So, Mr. Nash, we have the very first female CEO of a big three automaker here in the USA, Mary Barra, 64 today on December 24th, Christmas Eve, an American businesswoman who has been the chair and chief executive officer of General Motors since 2014. She's of Finnish descent, which I thought was interesting. They had a whole little blurb about her Finnish background. But born in Royal Oak, Michigan, she had gone to Kettering University, which at the time was known as the General Motors Institute, and she obtained a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering with honors. And she also attended the Stanford Graduate School of Business on a GM fellowship and got her MBA from Stanford in 1990. She started working, though, at General Motors in 1980 as a co-op student, and her first job was checking fender panels and hoods to make sure that they were
fender panels and
fender panels and hoods. Okay. So this was 1980, and she used the job to pay her college tuition. And she had a number of ended up coming on and working at General Motors after her co-op there, and held a variety of engineering and administrative positions. She became the the vice president of global manufacturing and engineering in 2008. She was also head of human resources. Then she became global purchasing and supply chain leader, and took over as CEO and chief executive officer in January 2014, becoming the first female to head an automobile manufacturer. During her time as CEO, she issued immediately 84 safety recalls, which involved over 30 million cars. And if you remember, there was lots of issues with faulty ignition switches and so forth. Then there was also lots of suspicion that the brand was paying for awards or whatever, which we all know Motor Trend or any of those awards are based upon how much you spend in advertising is how you win Car of the Year and Truck of the Year.
So no need to be suspect or even suspicious, because if you think it, it's true.
It's pay to play.
It's pay to play.
So she was also listed in 2017. She was the highest paid Detroit 3 executive. What do you think her yearly salary was?
What year was it?
This was in 2017. They announced what her salary was per year.
I'm going to say
of Stellantis or Chrysler, Ford, General Motors. She was the highest paid.
Is her pay package north of 10 or 15 million?
21.9 million. I hope she's okay.
Tim, wait, for how is an executive worth $21 million?
Considering their business is really not good. I mean, General Motors has had to be rescued several times. I don't know if people know this. The reason we have auto industries and we keep propping them up in the U.S., I don't have a problem with it. I worked in the auto industry. But it's also a huge asset to a country, particularly one like ours, which may have to go to war. And these factories and auto factories can easily be turned into factories to make tanks and planes and all these other things that you would need. So it's important for a country to have an automobile manufacturing capability, which any major country in the world that has leadership all has a auto industry, a viable auto industry. So you can't let that go away. But 21.9 is quite a salary. She was criticized in 2018. She closed 5 North American plants, laid off 14,000 workers. Donald Trump went through the roof, criticized her, and threatened to remove all of GM's government subsidies in response. He was upset by that. And so he ended up asking her to be on one of his committees or something at the Trump.
Is this term number 1?
Yeah, this was in his first term.
Yeah, I remember this, Tim. I remember this. Yeah.
So she did. She was on his. I'm going to try to find the exact thing here, what it was called, but she was with Trump, and it was. Let's see. That was Homeland Security. Why am I? Oh, here it is. December 2016. She joined his business forum, which was assembled by President-elect Trump to provide strategic and policy advice on economic issues, but she immediately left the forum after Trump's response to the Charlottesville protests. And she's now on some Homeland Security thing, but kind of at an arm's length. But she understands what you and I have always said: you've got to have your hands in both pockets, right? You got to, particularly as a leader of a major manufacturer, you have to be able to hold your nose sometimes. They said overall, though, she's been highly regarded, particularly as an executive, not just as a woman executive, but as an executive. By any measure, she was either number 1 or top 5 most influential women leaders in the world. And in the business segment for auto, she was always in the top of being influential and being well regarded. They said she had transformative leadership, strategic vision, and pivoting to EVs, and fostered a more inclusive culture, earning praise for honesty, empowering employees, and driving innovation. So she's been a survivor. You and I both know people that worked in senior leadership roles at General Motors, and generally well regarded, generally has brought in a more inclusive and welcoming environment for many types of people. And her knowing what it's like being the first woman to head a company like this, understands the importance of having a more diverse employee group. So I give her a lot of credit. It's a horribly tough job. I can't imagine doing it. I think maybe the salary's a bit high based upon results of GM. But, you know, the other thing with General Motors and all these companies during the Biden administration and what's going on globally, so many people have taken monies and budget and resources and research to go into EVs. And General Motors, like an awful lot of other companies, has a lot of EVs on the books coming. And, of course, this administration has called global warming and
a hoax.
A hoax, and we've got plenty of fossil fuels, and we don't have to have electric cars. But if you read anything, they're coming. All manufacturers have pivoted. She had actually made the announcement that General Motors was going to be, she hasn't taken it back yet, but that they were going to be 100% electric vehicles by 2035, which is only about 10, 11 years away, right? So
not even.
Yeah.
Not, at this point, it's like 9.
So we know Tim, Volkswagen has said that. There's a lot of other brands that are putting EVs on their fleet. Ford's rolling back the F-150. Right?
Yeah, they're. there was something about her background when you said she started, and it sounded like she started on the assembly line as inspecting the fenders and hoods, right?
Fenders and hoods, yep.
So, Tim has often talked about this. To add to what he said about the importance of having an auto industry in the United States, it's like a squid or a spider, the web of suppliers that provide everything from a knob on a radio all the way down to a shock absorber or to a catalytic converter. Like it involves so many states and so many industries. It used to involve Canada and Mexico as well. Do you think that are there other CEOs that had that kind of line, working on the assembly line background before they were elevated? Do you think, was it Farley or Farley, Jim Farley?
Yeah, Farley. I don't think he'd come from a Ford family, I believe, but he also spent many, many years at Toyota.
Okay.
But grew up in the auto industry. I'm not sure. I think there are certainly people, particularly within the engineering area, that have a background like her. But it was rare for a female. Listen, and I know at Subaru to have a female in a senior leadership role.
Yeah.
We were one of the first to have somebody head up marketing and research.
That's
that was
right.
a female
That's right.
in the auto industry. So the fact that she was able to rise to the top level of one of the largest manufacturers in the world and happens to be automotive is huge. And coming from the engineering side, most of the times people come from
Sales,
accounting, or really accounting or kind of the financial areas. Sometimes sales, but so she's struggled. I would say she's probably an unlikely person on paper back in 1980 that you'd say she'd be leading the company. But knowing, as you said, knowing the line, knowing the engineering aspects of the business, which is really where you make your money in terms of manufacturing these things, to make sure that you have a streamlined platform. So it was one thing she did. She was able to come in and really streamline the platforms. They had far too many, a Pontiac, a Saturn, and Oldsmobile all on the same platform with just a different badge on it. It became unwieldy to try to think you were going to sell all these cars. So she did streamline a lot of that stuff, but took a lot of heat for it too, I'm sure, but had to make some very decisive decisions. And they said that's been one of the things. She has a very good relationship with all the employees from the top all the way down to the manufacturing floor. And she's been very decisive about her decisions and very clear in her communication, which again, we all know many leaders that don't have that perhaps.
No, you don't. I was going to say, you don't always hear that. I think it's a great business birthday, especially since you and I spent a very large chunk of our careers, me as an agency to an auto company, you deep in the trenches of auto, knowing that it takes 4 years to change a button on a radio because of all the regulations and the safety stuff.
Or a key. If you change the shape of a key. Yeah. Many times cars may have to go back through all certification,
all the testing.
Well, particularly for crash testing to make sure that the key is not going to puncture you in an accident. But no, people don't understand.
People don't even think about that. I don't even think they think. We do have a shop talk today, and I teased it at the start in my little snarky opening. And basically, I found a headline that reads as follows: Merry boycotting. U.S. shoppers avoid Trump-aligned businesses amid holiday season. This came to us from the Business Insider, and this is the Guardian. And I'm not going to be surprising anybody with what we say here, but apparently there's a group that was behind the No Kings rallies and the protests that were several weeks ago. They put their weight behind a campaign called We Ain't Buying It, calling on people to shop at stores other than Target, Home Depot, Amazon. That's a hard one to break your habit with. But this is because all these companies, namely Target, the whole bunch, they kind of caved like a house of cards when the administration came after them for their DEI initiatives or practices. Apparently Spotify, one of the companies on here that you're not supposed to be buying from, runs ICE recruitment ads on their streams. I look at that and I say, I can understand why they don't turn anybody away when it comes to advertising dollars. But if they did turn away the ICE ads, that would be making a somewhat of a statement, and it could put them into the harm's way. And of course, there's Disney, who famously reversed their decision on Jimmy Kimmel earlier this year. And this all goes back to several years ago when Disney, then Bob Chapin, their then CEO, stood up against DeSantis after much conversation by Disney employees to go against the efforts in Florida they were trying to ban drag shows and drag queen story hour and book banning, the whole bit. That didn't go well for Disney or frankly Florida, in my opinion. It was just a bad looking thing from the get-go. But what was your take on this? Do you think it's going to have any impact? And what did I miss here? Tesla and Starbucks were two companies, and we all know about Tesla, but what was your take? Do you think they'll have any?
I guess I've heard, and many, unless you were under a rock, heard about the No Kings rallies, and they're just getting bigger and bigger each time. And there's supposed to be another one in the spring, I guess. I did not hear this. We ain't buying it. Had you heard of this before?
Nope, not at all.
So I was surprised that they did such a great job communicating the No Kings protests. But this We Ain't Buying It campaign, I certainly would have been on board with it. Although I think, as you said, and I have a number of people that won't or don't want to support Amazon. But in many cases, I don't know what you would do, because I'm not going to go to Temu or Temu, however you say it. Or
Temu, yeah. And it's not like you could walk down to a Barnes and Noble.
No.
If you're buying Kindle books or something, that is exclusively Amazon, right?
Right. Or unless, I guess, maybe you go directly to. I was telling somebody I had gone to a store to buy a polo shirt. Oh, we don't stock those anymore. You got to get it online. I said, well, I want to look at the colors. I want to try it on, but
nope.
So it's difficult. But so I never heard of this. And I said, if there were, I'm sure if I did hear about it, I certainly would have supported it. I did cancel Hulu when they had gone after Kimmel, and I canceled that. I have, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I boycotted. I have not boycotted Home Depot, which was on here, and they're talking about how many Home Depots have day workers, people out there looking for work with contractors, and that ICE was rating that. I must say, I don't know if I've not been, they've not shown up in Delaware yet, the ICE, although I think they might have around some of the chicken processing plants over in the western side of the state, but I haven't run into them in the cities like a lot of people have. I know our friend Marianne in Chicago says it's been horrible.
Yeah.
And some of the tactics and chasing people down and showing up at workspaces.
Schools, they show up at schools to enter, when the mother's going to pick up their child. It's so weird to have this conversation in America today. ICE raids, they wear masks, they cover their faces, they act. Some of the videos I've seen, it's like people with behavioral problems definitely are recruited by ICE, in my opinion.
Or
these guys,
people who want to be cops, right? They couldn't make
Perfect.
it couldn't make it in law enforcement. So now they're this.
You said it perfectly. They're wannabe cops. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know where all this spins out to, except, I can't imagine 3 more years of this crap. I really can't. There's got to be a break at some point.
You would
the
hope.
Stranglehold that he has over one of our political parties that all act in my opinion, in fear. Like, that was never a founding principle of our democracy. Fear was maybe fear of a dictator or fear of a foreign power, but within our borders, fearful of our president, maybe saying something on Truth Social. Like, let's really unpack that for a minute. Some electronic platform that he and his little thumbs key out something at midnight, and we all panic. If you went back to to some of our audience, if you went back to the days of analog when the phone was attached to the wall and you watched one of the 3 networks, this would be unthinkable, right? How could?
Well, it would have been a Banana Republic. It's the way a Banana Republic acts. I mean, even the Oval Office alone, all that plastic gold crap he's got in there is just absurd. I mean, the whole thing is absurd. It did say here in the article that Target has admitted that they've taken a hit, but they really think that's more from the black activists that started a protest earlier this year after the company had rolled back its diversity efforts. And so the African-American community, the black community, people of color in the U.S. have really band together and along with the gay community, or LGBTQ plus, yabba dabba do, with all the letters.
We know where you stand on that acronym.
Well, that's a whole different show, right?
Yeah, that's a whole. That's 2026, Tim. That's 2026.
But they are one of the few that have come forward and said that they have noticed
a drop in sales.
Business. Yeah. Do you have a Target near you? Do you go to Target at all still?
We do, and I haven't been in a long time. Target, and that's for a couple different reasons. And I think that the decline in sales may be, in fact, attributable to foot traffic issues, maybe with African Americans or with the LGBTQ community. But their stock has changed a great deal. They used to have collaborations with designers, and they used to have fun stuff in the home section. They don't, I feel when I go in there, they don't know what they want to be. They do have a food section now, much like Walmart, the big Walmart supercenters do. And they still, but so I feel that they're trying to find their way in. What kind of a retailer do we want to be? If you're physically going to go to the store, who do we want to be? The DEI stuff did not help them at all. I mean, caving to the worst basket case people and the administration because they claim it's law, whatever happened to, and Tim and I talk about this all the time offline. What happened to a customer or a corporation's right to speak to the customers they have? You can call it, that's advertising and marketing. That's not DEI. That's, we know our customer. We have gay men, we have lesbians, we have black people, we have, why not?
Hey, listen, it was one of the lessons I learned at Subaru with Mahoney when he was head of marketing, and we would get all the boycott threats. And he said, he says, don't engage them. Because you're never going to be able to change their minds. They're not buying the product anyway. So just ignore them. And if I were Target could have simply just ignored all the noise and they'd have been fine. And they wouldn't have pissed off the LGBTQ consumer, wouldn't have pissed off the African American consumer. And but no, they made a colossal mistake of pandering to Trump. And so we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's an interesting time, I think, for companies. And I think you have often mentioned this, that people are confusing DEI with internal initiatives with advertising and talking to consumers, which is also another huge issue. But where it lands, who knows, Mr. Nash? I don't know. You ain't buying it. We ain't buying it. Is that where it's going to?
True.
There it's going to go. So, hey, thanks for joining us here on the Focus Group. We're going to take next week off. John and I never do that. We never take time off, but we're going to post, we'll see what we're going to put up on our social media at focusgroupradio.com. Maybe one of our best of former holiday shows. So you can always go there. And we know many of you time shift, so it'd probably be a good time for you to catch up on all of our programming, our 51 weeks of programming we've had this year.
Aren't you clever, Tim? Catch up. The catch up week. I like that.
Catch up. And we hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And if you celebrate other holidays, enjoy that as well. I don't know. I was looking at a calendar, and I was shocked about the number of holidays that actually take place in December. So
they cluster.
Yes.
So, it's a cluster.
And remember, a lot of people are on the road. Don't text and drive. Arrive alive. And we'll see you in 2026 here on the Focus Group. Take care.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.